Welcome to the channel for the first time viewers. Welcome back from my existing subscribers. We're going to get into the Activision Blizzard merger or acquisition from Microsoft. I'm a little late to the party, but again, it's not really one of those things that I would want to jump in and be like, hey, I'm reporting on it first. This is kind of just after looking at all of that's happened and what still remains. This is what has me excited about this purchase, right? Obviously we all know it was for 68 billion, which is a ton. But I think that the new Modern Warfare coming out, or what's rumored to be Modern Warfare 2, the reboot sequel to the 2019, which is what brought us Warzone. I think that coupled with Game Pass is going to be dope, right? So to not have to buy a game that I buy every year, if they do implement it into Game Pass, is going to be a big advantage. And what makes me feel like this is definitely something that's possible, right, is that Sony's own published title, MLB The Show, was in Game Pass because the MLB stepped in, and it was very interesting where my mind was like blown to see Sony on top of a Microsoft packaging. So if I get a picture of that, I'll throw it up there. But things I think that will be improved will be the monetization system inside of Call of Duty. I think the game's decision making to be more, I think it'll be more player focused versus being so heavily focused on retention and just milking the most out of every single player that you have. So if you have, it's going to be more, let's get more players to try this game, like this game because of the gameplay, versus let's get the players to try and want X, Y, or Z because they see it or because this is the experience that they get. I think we'll have a better overall product at the end of the day, right? Some other things that have happened is, Sony is on the rebound from all of this. Their shares or their stocks had dropped 20 billion from this news, which is a ton. I think they're still worth over $200 billion if I'm not mistaken. So it's not like they lost all their money overnight, but that was a big hit, primarily because that's their main product. There is this new Game Pass like product I've been trying to read up on, so I'm gonna hold off on that until I get more information, but I do definitely want to see what they come out with, because Game Pass is a steal, right? So you can get it's essentially Game Pass Ultimate. It's going to be Game Pass PC, Xbox Gold, and it's going to be Xbox Game Pass. So if you're a PC player, you have over 200 games that you can download. Some are not that great, some are okay, and some are really, really good, right? I made a video about Game Pass in the past, talking about how some of the games I purchased ended up in Game Pass, and I was like, oh damn, that's wild. And they weren't they weren't old. They were relatively new at the time. So Tomb Raider was like 6 months old when it went into Game Pass. I think it since has left, but anyways, that's beside the point. Outside of that, that's pretty much the biggest thing. Graphics cards are still jacked up. It's impossible to get one. But what I would say is there is a light at the end of the tunnel with the release of the 3080 12 gig, right? So that's brought some more graphics cards into the local market space. So for me, looking at Facebook Marketplace, I could see a lot more GPUs, and the prices are starting to drop. So right now, you can see I saw a used Asus ROG Strix 3070 Ti. So if you were in the market, it was only $980. I say only because obviously it was used, but those cards usually go for like $1,300, $1,400. But now there's so many cards in the upper, I'd say 1,200 to 1,700 range that is starting to push down the pricing, right? The 3050 is an interesting card. There was no 2050, so I guess if you were coming from a card like a 1050, looking at a 3050 might not be such a bad shake, right? But when you're looking at a card that performs worse than the previous generation, although it's not a direct comparison, like it's not a 3060, but the 2060 typically will beat it when you look up tests. And I don't know, I don't own one. I have no plans on ever getting one, so I'll never test it for myself. But from what I see online, it's usually anywhere between 5 to 15 FPS behind the 2060. And to me, if you're coming from a 2050 or a 1050, that's okay. It's whatever, right? So you essentially got right in the ballpark of a 2060 for a GPU. But if you're coming from a 2060 and you thought the 3050 was going to be better, yeah, unfortunately that's not the case. You would be better off actually selling your 2060 for $400 or $500 while the market is still hot, and just upgrading to a 3060 Ti or something like that, right? Or even a 1080 Ti. You know, you get more performance from that. You would lose your ray tracing, so it would kind of be like a side down upgrade. You lose some features, gain some other features. But yeah, to keep this video short, this is going to be one of the, a new series that I'm going to try out. Let me know if you all like just hearing about, different topics that I've seen, my opinions on it. I did run a poll late last year, and this is something that a lot of people wanted to hear about or hear from me about. And I don't know, we'll see where this goes. I think it's I like having this conversation regardless. So if y'all ever want to engage in the comment section, I'm definitely down to just, speak to you about it. One last little bit of advice or a tip. Always when you're getting these new graphics cards, you can look at, definitely look at test, right? Look at test. Don't just look at the fact that it's a new model, and then look what you can actually get for that money. So if your budget is $900, see what the best you can get for $900 is, right? So if you see a 6700 XT, I personally have had bad luck with AMD drivers in the past, but this new 6900 XT that I got has been flawless, right? No issues, period. But again, for the same $900, are you going to get a 3060 Ti? Are you going to go spend it on, 2080 because you'll see it like marked up at like $800 or something like that? Just pay attention to the performance and weigh out your options. I know a lot of times you're not going to have that much time to make a decision on a new card, but definitely, especially with crypto on a downward trend for now, on this downward trend, card prices are going to start to drop. Availability is going to start to go up. So if you can stay patient for a little bit, or at least get yourself into a situation where you can spend the money and not hate yourself later, then I would do that. But kind of murky advice, but it's kind of like it all depends, right? Like, what are you going to play? Which card brand performs better? My personal experience has been that the AMD cards have been performing better in Warzone and in Call of Duty. And the NVIDIA cards are just a little bit more, it's a little bit less FPS, but they're more stable in Warzone and in Call of Duty, right? So it's more consistent across the board. So depending on what you want there, hopefully that helps a little bit. Y'all be easy. I'll catch you on the flip.
Not so tough now, are you? Real tough guy picking on a lady and a kid. I'll show you.
They aren't going to keep us apart anymore.